In today's video, I'll be talking about something I've recently incorporated into my routine. Intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is something I've discussed extensively in the past and kept up with the scientific research as it emerges. Now, let me be clear, I'm not a die-hard advocate for intermittent fasting. It's not something I universally recommend to clients, but if someone finds it works well for them, I fully support them in doing it the right way, the most optimal way. You see, for most people, intermittent fasting just isn't necessary. And it can sometimes lead to an unhealthy focus on simply abstaining from food rather than prioritizing overall diet quality. Many fall into the trap of obsessing over the actual fasting window while making poor nutritional choices when they do eat. Sustainable weight loss fundamentally comes down to achieving a calorie deficit and building long-term habits, doesn't it? So fasting is just not essential for that. And some intermittent fasting enthusiasts argue that the method itself has unique fat loss and metabolic benefits beyond calorie control. While there's ongoing debates in the scientific community, the reality is that for most people, the primary benefit of intermittent fasting is reducing calorie intake rather than offering any kind of magical fat burning benefits. So why am I doing it? Why have I started it? Well, for me, intermittent fasting fits seamlessly into my lifestyle. I enjoy eating larger, more satisfying meals, so shortening my eating window allows me to eat in a way that feels just more enjoyable to me. So rather than snacking throughout the day, I prefer feeling properly satiated after a bigger meal. My approach is loosely based on the 16-8 fasting method, where you fast for 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window. That said, I'm not particularly rigid with the timing. I typically finish eating around 6 p.m. maybe, and don't eat again until around midday the next day. So technically, that's a 18-6 fasting schedule, but I don't stress about the details. I also have a few milky coffees in the morning, which technically breaks the fast, but that's fine. I'm not chasing exaggerated fasting benefits. My goal is simple: a reduced eating window, fewer overall calories, and shed those last few festive pounds, little stubborn festive pounds. So who can benefit from intermittent fasting? Well, firstly, people who tend to overeat in the evening. This guy. If you struggle with nighttime snacking, fasting can be a great way to curb late night calorie intake. Also, those who prefer larger meals, again, this guy. If you'd rather have 2 or 3 bigger, more satisfying meals instead of grazing all day, intermittent fasting makes this easier. And finally, individuals who don't mind skipping breakfast. If you can comfortably delay your first meal, you might find fasting just effortless. Personally, I fall into the first two categories. I could easily overeat in the evening, but I also know that's not ideal for staying lean year round. By cutting off my food intake early, I maintain better control of my calories, and it doesn't result in loads of crap coming in. But who should avoid it? Who should avoid intermittent fasting? Avoid it if you're highly active in the morning, if you work like a physically demanding job, or train early in the day. Fasting probably isn't. You're not going to provide. Your body's not going to have the fuel it needs as if you're fasting. Also, if you have a history of binge eating, extended fasting periods can sometimes trigger overeating later in the day, which kind of defeats the purpose. And it might not be ideal if breakfast, if you love breakfast, if breakfast is your favorite meal, skipping it might not be that fun. It might not be that sustainable. That said, breakfast doesn't have to be in the morning. Even though I fast until around midday, I still eat my favorite high protein breakfast when I break the fast. So usually that's salmon, eggs, spinach, protein bread, or protein bagels. Delicious. Who says breakfast has to be first thing in the morning, right? So to wrap things up, intermittent fasting is just another dietary strategy, and it's not inherently superior to traditional calorie control. While some of the bold claims about metabolic advantages are overhyped, intermittent fasting can still be like a highly effective tool for those who enjoy the structure and find it helps them naturally reduce their calories. So it can be pretty awesome. It's not a magical bullet, but when used correctly, intermittent fasting can be a powerful tool for weight management and overall lifestyle flexibility.